Everyone, welcome to Admissions and Financial Aid 101. My name is Michael Rowe. I'm Associate Dean of Enrollment.
And I am Robert Zasso, Director of Financial Aid.
This program is going to talk to you about the admissions processes, what we offer here at DCC, and then Rob is going to direct you and walk you through the financial aid process. He's going to talk about the FAFSA and give you really great steps on how to apply for the FAFSA, how to apply for the TAP, and how to get the financial aid process rolling. So once again, we're really excited that you're here, and let's jump in. So to give you an idea of who we are at a glance, DCC offers 40 degree and certificate programs. We have 8,600 students currently, and we have $2.5 million in scholarships that we've awarded in the past 5 years by our college foundation. 68% of our students graduated with zero student loan debt, which is really something that's important when students are looking at colleges. That's some of the reason why a lot of our students who could go away start at DCC is because they realize that we're affordable, and as a result, they could get through Dutchess and get a solid education and do it without a lot of loans. And the other thing I want to let you know is 550 Conklin scholarships for academic excellence since 2003. Anyone who graduates from a school in Dutchess County in the top 10% of their class can come tuition free to DCC. We also have 45,000 alumni, and our location, if you're not local, is we are located in Poughkeepsie, New York, which is halfway between New York City and Albany. We are on the Metro North line, so it's very easy for students to access us either from the south on Metro North or from the north from Amtrak. We have many locations. Our main campus is here in Poughkeepsie. That's where all of our classes are offered. But I also want to let you know that we have a great extension site in Fishkill, which is at the north end of the Dutchess Mall, which is at the intersection of Route 9 and 84. We're really excited about that opportunity for students. That's going to offer a wide variety of courses. You can't do everything in Fishkill, but you'll be able to do a lot of different courses in Fishkill. It'd be a great supplement for students who live, southern end of the county, maybe northern Putnam County. It would be a wonderful spot for you to go to kind of supplement the courses you'd be taking in Poughkeepsie. We also have Hudson Valley Regional Airport. There's a hangar at the Hudson Valley Regional Airport, which houses our aviation programs, as well as online courses. One thing that's important for you is to find your fit, and that's something we think is very important. So we're going to talk a little bit about academic, social, and financial fit, because once again, we think that's the most important part of the college search process. It's not finding the college with the most prestigious name. It's not finding the college that everyone thinks you should go to or that your friends are going to. The college search process is about finding the school that's right for you and a school that's right for you. And we think more importantly than status, more importantly than anything else, is does it fit? Is this a place that you're going to be successful? And is this a place where you're going to go, find what you need, and graduate? That's what this is all about. And that's what the college search process is all about. So let's talk about what we do offer. We offer over 40 academic programs in a wide variety of areas, career and transfer-based. We have new opportunities in public health. We have a minor in honor studies. As I mentioned, we have a new aviation related program that's going to be announced very soon, as well as a new business program that we're going to be announcing very soon. So that's something that will be on our website as soon as it's approved. I want you to know we're an open enrollment institution. What that means is as long as you graduate from high school, you will be accepted to DCC. So as long as you have your high school diploma or a GED, you will be accepted to the college. So we talked about programs. We have a wide variety of programs because we have a lot of students looking at different areas. We have transfer and career opportunities. When you look at degrees on our website, you're going to see behind the name of the degree either an AA or an AS, and those are transfer programs. So those are designed to bring you the first 2 years of your four-year degree. So this would be freshman and sophomore year at DCC, then junior and senior year elsewhere. If you see AAS or CERT behind it, it's a career-oriented degree. And what that means is it's really designed for 2 years and then out into the workforce. So we've got a wide variety of programs based on your interests and your goals. And so when you look at our programs online, you're going to see that we have a business administration program, which is an AS degree, but we also have a business management degree, which is an AAS degree. Business administration, business management, they sound very much alike. They sound the same. They're different because of the fact that one is specifically targeted at giving you the liberal arts courses you need to be successful at a four-year institution, whereas the other one, while some of the classes are very similar, they're all going to offer marketing, they're all going to offer some sort of accounting, Those are all part of the core curriculum, but the additional courses in the transfer program are designed to help you successfully transfer into a four-year school, whereas the extra courses in the applied science program are designed to give you more of those hands-on skills, knowing that you're going to be going out in the workforce. We also offer certificate programs, which are one-year programs, and micro-credentials, which are usually 3-4 classes that will give you a certain skill and a certain badge. It's not a degree from the college, but it's a way to kind of enhance your skills. So we have a wide variety of programs based on what you're coming in and what you're looking for. One thing I also want you to know about is our academic support. It's important that you're successful, and whether you're coming in here with a 95 average or whether you're coming in, you may have struggled in high school. This is for every student. This is for everyone coming in. We offer programs in C-STEP, which is STEM-related or licensure programs. We have EOP program, which is a statewide recognized program for academic support. We have a TRIO program as well, which is a student support services. Those are all programs that we have that students can be part of while they're here. If you're not in one of those programs, you can also do math and science lab or the writing center and get extra help in areas that you need for whatever. So if you're not in a program but you need help with an essay, if you need help with a math class, those are there for you. We also have an accommodative services office for you, which helps you if you have any accommodations in high school. If you had any accommodations of extra test time or anything like that, that's an office that's going to be able to work with you to kind of make sure you get the accommodations needed to be successful at DCC, similar to what you may have received in high school. Our transfer students are very successful, and I want you to understand there's a lot of opportunities for you upon transfer from DCC. This is a listing of some of the schools that our students have gone to. We've had a wide variety of students that stay local and go to Marist and New Paltz. We had a student, as you see in the bottom right, we had a student recently go to Tulane down in New Orleans. We had a student go to Hawaii a few years ago. You have a wide variety of options of transferability, and DCC is well recognized within the SUNY system as well as across the country as being a very strong first 2 years of a liberal arts education. So if you're looking to transfer, we can certainly give you the skills necessary and the tools necessary to go on and be successful. We have a wide variety of graduates. We have a graduate who is a meteorologist at the Weather Channel. We have people, local entrepreneurs that have opened up and are owning a very successful business here in Dutchess County called Adams Farraker Farms. They're also in Orange County and Ulster as well. We have a former CEO of Foot Locker, and we have the gentleman who has really spearheaded the walkway over the Hudson. His name is Fred Schaefer, and he's a local attorney. And he was really a driving force behind getting the walkway over the Hudson Park established here about 10 years ago. So it's an absolutely wonderful array of alumni that we have of students that have gone on to continue on and be very successful upon graduation. The final person in the bottom left corner is Dana Jones, and I want to talk about her. She was a student here just a few years ago, graduated from DCC, went to Marist. She founded Accessador, which is a product that can be attached to automatic push-button doors. So when you're going into an institution, a college or something, you see that blue button that you push. If you don't have the strength to push that button. And one day she was in a position where she couldn't get in and there was no one around, and she was kind of stuck until someone came by to open it up for her because she just didn't have the strength to open the door. What she did is she created an app with a chip inside those blue buttons to make it work from her phone. So she's now able to open doors from her phones. She's a very successful entrepreneur right now. Her product is going to be at Dutchess, it's going to be at Marist, it's going to be at the CIA, it's going to be in Dutchess County office buildings, and she's going to go very far. So we're really proud of her as well. So we have a wide variety of successful alumni, and certainly you'd be joining a group of people that can have a chance to really make a difference in the world when you come to DCC. Let's talk about the social aspect. 3 things I want to talk about. I want to talk about athletics. We do have athletics. We're NJCAA Division III, so we have men's baseball, basketball, soccer. On the women's side, we have softball, basketball, soccer, and volleyball. So a wide variety of opportunities for you to participate in sports if you want to do so. We also have arts on campus. As you see, we have dance, we have visual arts, we have music, we have theater. You don't have to be a music major to still bring your instrument and play in the jazz band or the orchestra. Or if you want to sing, you can certainly get involved with singing without being involved. If you want to be in theater, once again, you don't have to be a major. If you did theater in high school, do it here. Anything that you did in high school that made you love it, continue that in college. In addition to that, we have a wide variety of student activities. You see some of the things we've had, dunk tanks, and we laser tag, and we brought in the electric bull that people can ride. And there's lots of clubs and organizations. There's over 30 clubs. Some are academic based, some are just based on interests. So there's a lot of things that you can do to really enjoy your time here and really have a fulfilling experience beyond your academics. We do have a residence hall for students who want to live on campus and get that full residential experience. We have 465 beds, plus a resident director who lives in the building as well as other professionals. We have fitness center. We have late night dining. We have a convenience store in Conklin Hall as well. Lots of social activities. And as I mentioned, it's a very convenient location, not only to New York City, to Albany, to surrounding counties, but the actual residence hall is right on campus. So it's a short walk to academic buildings, campus activities, any sporting events, or any of your student services. Let's talk a little bit about finances. This is the math. So for 2020, 2021, we are looking at $4,350 tuition. If you add some of the fees, you're looking at $47.82 in-state as a commuter. If you live on campus, you'll see that price certainly does go up to about $17,250 approximately. Out of state, the prices for tuition double. Everything else would basically remain the same, and that's what you're looking at when it comes to cost to DCC. That's a very quick admissions overview, but I wanted to give you an idea of who we are and what we offer, and now I'm going to pass it off to Rob to talk a little bit about the financial aid aspect.
Good evening, everyone. So we're going to start off with one of the most important forms that a student would be filling out for financial aid, and that's the FAFSA form. It stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid, and the one thing I want to stress is the free part of that is that when you do fill out the form, it's free. You don't have to pay any money to fill out the application. And this is the most important application a student's going to fill out because this starts you down the road for federal aid, and then it'll also be the starting point for state aid. And what it does is it allows you opportunities to receive financial aid. And those are funds that through the federal and state and colleges that will provide to students to help pay for their educational expenses. So the FAFSA, what it does is it's going to collect information so that way it can calculate what's called the expected family contribution. Now in financial aid, we like to use a lot of acronyms. One of them you might hear from us is the EFC, and that is the expected family contribution. And what that's going to do for this upcoming fall 2021, we're going to be taking a look at your 2009 taxable and non-taxable income and any current assets of the student and the parent. Also, we'll look at the size of the family, the number in college, and also marital status. You could actually start filling out the FAFSA as October 1st this year. So I do recommend that you do apply as early as possible. It makes it a little bit easier for one of the schools if we require any additional paperwork. And also if we're up and running, a school can actually start giving you your aid offer early. One thing to keep in mind about the FAFSA is you do have to reapply every year. And then the other thing to stay attention to is also that different schools have different priority dates for filling out the FAFSA. So at Dutchess, ours is open enrollment. So we do not have a priority date, but we do recommend students fill out the FAFSA as early as possible. So that way we can see if we need any additional information from you. One thing to keep in mind is that the admissions process and the financial aid process can be a little bit different. We're both asking for documentation, but they are different pieces and they do go to separate offices. So I mentioned the expected family contribution, and what that's going to do is it becomes the measurement of the student and the parent's ability to pay for school. And what it's going to look at is it takes the student's contribution from the FAFSA, and then if the student is dependent, it'll look at the parent's contribution. And then based on the expected family contribution, that's what colleges across here at Dutchess and across the country will use that to see what the student is actually eligible for aid. So the next thing is that there's different sources of aid that a student can receive. The FAFSA is for the federal government. Your employers, they might be, you could have aid from them. Private sources, so that's usually scholarships. Colleges and universities, we might have grants and scholarships that we can award you. And also the states might have their own type of state programs. Like for example, New York State has the TAP grant. So if you're a full-time student, you can be eligible for grant money from them. So the federal government's created multiple different ways students can fill out the FAFSA now. You can do it by paper, but if you do that, you do have to download a PDF and print that out and mail that. I would usually recommend against that because that usually takes about 4 to 6 weeks for that information to get back to the college. Instead, you could do FAFSA on the web through your PC or Mac, or you could do FAFSA on the web on your phone, and it'll just be like a mobile web page. But the federal government just in the last couple of years has also come up with My Student app, where you can then go in that way and just fill out the FAFSA through an app that they've created. One of the most important things you're going to want to do when you start the FAFSA process is to go to this website to get your FSA ID. This is your electronic signature. So the student's going to need this signature, and they can use it all the years that they're filling out for the FAFSA. And then one of your parents will also need to have this FSA ID if you're dependent. Then based on that, and then they'll use that for their the first year and the upcoming years after that. Now, you can use that. Each student needs to have their one, and their parent has to have their own ID, and you'll be using that in the next couple of years as you're filling out your FAFSA. The FSA ID is going to be looking for your name, social security number, date of birth. One of the most important things is when you fill out the email address, make sure you don't use your high school email. You can only use your email one time. So when you're filling this out, when you're filling it out, you're going to be filling it out as a student. Make sure you use the student's email address. And then when you're filling it out as a parent, use the parent's address. We do run into situations where when the parents are filling it out initially, they're filling out putting their email address in for their student. And then later on, when they need their own email address for an FSA ID, they have to end up creating a new email account just specifically for that. It's also the same for the mobile phone number. You're going to want to put it, if you have a cell phone number, I would recommend putting it in because it's a way of doing authentication. And also, if you forget your password, you can use the phone number to help reset your account. But it has the same limitations as email. They have to be separate cell phone numbers. The student and the parent can't be using the same cell number. So after you do your FSA ID, you can go to FAFSA.gov, or you can go to the website below. One thing to keep in mind is if you do a search like on Google, make sure that you don't check to make sure the first website you're going to is like going to be for studentaid.gov and not FAFSA.com. And the reason I want to bring that up is if you go to FAFSA.com, you could be going to a website that's actually charging you to fill out the FAFSA. They will submit the FAFSA for you, but they're also going to charge you. And as I mentioned earlier, the FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. So you don't really need to be spending money to fill out the FAFSA form. Now, the first time you fill out the FAFSA, it's going to show you up top. You're going to want to go to the Start Here button. But then anytime you go back to this page, you can just go into log in because you're going to use that information to go to a FAFSA that you've already submitted. Here are some mistakes that you want to pay attention to that we've noticed that students will do when they're filling out the FAFSA. They might fill out the wrong year. So for example, if you're filing for next fall 2021, you would fill out a FAFSA for 2021, 2022. But if you were, then also if you want to make sure you use the correct name, you want to make sure you meet the deadlines of the colleges. Try not to transpose the digits, double check those numbers when you're putting it in. Make sure you have the correct date of birth. Make sure you have your parents' information. And those are kind of the major things you want to check on, because with those, that's the things that when it goes through the FAFSA process, those are things that might pop up later, where as a school, we might have to ask for additional documentation from you before we can complete your file. So one of the questions we get on the FAFSA is who's the parent for the FAFSA? We start off first, it's either your biological or adoptive parents. If your parents are married, not married, but living together, you would report both parents. Now, if your parents are divorced, this is a question we get often. You're only going to use the parent that you've lived with the most during the last 12 months. If you do not live with one parent more than the other, the parent will provide the most financial support during the last 12 months or the most recent year you receive support. So that's one thing to keep in mind. You're not going to be putting both parents on if your parents are separated or divorced. You're only going to use the one parent for that information. One thing to keep in mind, though, if the parent you're living with, they've remarried and there's a step parent in the household, you do have to include the step parent's information on the FAFSA, regardless of any agreements between them. When you're filling out the FAFSA, you're going to come to a point where it's going to ask you if you're going to need to fill out your tax information. And if you did file taxes, you do have an option where you can use the IRS data retrieval tool, or DRT for short. And what that does is it takes your tax information from the IRS. You do have to voluntarily say that you want to use that, but what it does is it authenticates your ID, it pulls your tax information, and then that puts that information on the FAFSA. So it's less information you have to fill out on the FAFSA for the process. Then the other big part about it is that it also reduces the documents we might need to request from you as a financial aid office. Once you submit a FAFSA, it's going to go to the Central Processing Services, or CPS for short. After they process your FAFSA, give them about 5 to 7 business days, and then they will send you information to the student, and they're going to send information to us as the college. Once as a school we have that information, that's when we'll start taking a look to see what a student is actually eligible for. Now, one thing to keep in mind though with the FAFSA form, it's doing a snapshot of your 2019 information. And this is, and if you're planning to attend school even in spring 21 or fall 2021, it's only looking at information that's already almost 2 years old. So other situations could have happened. There could have been a loss of employment, unfortunate medical expenses, a divorce. What you would do is you want to contact the financial aid office at any college and let them know that one of these situations has happened. What we'll do is we'll ask you to provide additional paperwork, and then based on that decision, we'll see if we can make any changes to your FAFSA information. And sometimes that can lead for some students to receive additional aid. Now, if you're a New York State resident and you're filling out a FAFSA and you list a school that is in New York State, you then will get an option at the confirmation page for the FAFSA that'll let you apply for New York State-based aid. What it'll do is you'll click on that link. It'll bring you over to the picture over on the right side where you can then start your application with TAP. So then you would click on that. And then it's going to bring you to this next page because you're going to have to create another account. It's kind of similar to what you filled out for the FSA ID. And then you're going to finish that. You're going to create an account, username, and password. And this is a good point just to remind everyone, when you're filling out for the FAFSA, make sure you write down your FSA ID, make sure you write down your TAP information, have that somewhere convenient, because every year you're going to need to go back in to complete these forms. After you complete this and you create your ID, it'll bring you into a TAP application where it'll have your information that's already been provided from the FAFSA. So it makes it a little bit easier for you to fill out. There are a few questions that are New York based that you'll complete. Once you complete that, you'll submit that to New York State, and then usually you will get a letter from them, usually between 7 to 10 business days. One, if they're looking for any additional paperwork, or an estimate of what you could receive for state aid from them. And then this is what the page will look like. It'll be a little congratulations. And then, nope, I'm good. But then if you have any questions for us, either admissions or financial aid that if we don't answer tonight, you can always email us at our offices, and then we will get back to you.